Drumroll. Welcome back to the Matt and Carly podcast. This is episode number 16. We have not done a podcast in 32 days, 36 days. It's fine. You know, I'm gonna start this off strong. Listen, we all make goals for ourselves and we all get sidetracked by pandemics and children and big life decisions that you have to make. And then you don't stick to the goal that you made. And then you remember one day, oh, I should probably get back on track. And you know what, folks? That's life. So we're here with episode 16. And apparently our average is like once every 3 weeks. We need to change that. So all we have to do is just add a lot of really frequent podcasts. And that will bring our average back to closer to what we thought, which was like once a week-ish. So if you stuck with us this far and you've wondered where the hell we've been, now we're here. So
hey, we're back.
I'm in a really weird mood tonight, so I apologize ahead of time. But yeah, anyways, it's episode 16. Sweet 16.
What are we talking about tonight?
Cheers. Just whatever the hell we feel like. That's the beginning of how we started, remember? I have the first thing I want to talk to you about. This is going to be an open discussion podcast. Mm-hmm. I don't know what we're going to title it yet, but it's going to be an open dialogue.
Okay.
I have a bone to pick with you.
Okay.
My child, the old one, came upstairs today and she scared the absolute shit out of me.
She got me too.
And I'm going to tell you something. Not once, not ever one time never have I ever taught our kid to spook or scare somebody else in like an unexpected way. And since the day that I've known you, you have hid behind so many corners and so many little dark, scary little places. And I know where she's getting that from.
I feel like you're just being dramatic.
I'm being observant.
I just had did you just hear my little gurgle?
Your gurgle?
I feel like you're being dramatic.
I am not being dramatic.
To the point where it's like...
No, I am being observant and I am calling you out. You have to teach that kid some scare etiquette, like Monsters, Inc. There is a rule book when it comes to scaring people. You don't do it when they're eating or drinking, and you don't do it when they're in a serious conversation because it's not good. Change my mind.
The only time I've scared you that I felt bad.
Whoa, hold on. That's subjective because you've scared me so many times that I've felt bad after.
Will you do me a favor?
Maybe.
Do me a favor. So we haven't been doing nothing in between this podcast. We were doing other stuff. Will you do me a favor and reach over the knob for the headphones? All the way left. The furthest knob. Yep. Just barely turn that thing down. Just a tiny, tiny bit. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Thank you.
Welcome.
These high quality headphones were blasting out my eardrums right there. Okay. The only time I ever scared you where I felt bad was recently, where you had decided to take a bag of trash all the way down out past our country driveway is probably 150 yards long. And it's enclosed by pine trees.
That's the only time?
Yes, this is the only time that I scared you where I felt bad. And I decided, because you said, hey babe, I'm going to take the trash, this bag of trash out. And it was just at sunset, or like it was at dusk, where it's just starting to get hard to see.
Kids had just gone to bed.
And no, the kids were awake still.
They were?
Yeah, which is why I knew that you wouldn't expect that I would come out.
That's why.
And hide in the pine trees and let you walk by me before I went. Yeah.
Yeah.
You did the Heisman. You did the, like, out of fear, you, like, did the Heisman and didn't even make a sound. It was more like a sound.
It was
and that one I was like, okay.
Body trying to protect itself in any way possible. And all I had was...
That one I genuinely felt a little bit bad about, because that is genuinely something scary could have been coming out of the pine trees at you, like a bear or something.
Yeah.
So besides that,
thanks.
I don't feel bad for the other ones.
Okay. Yeah.
But my daughter has turned into a pro. She's silent.
Just to preface this, I'm pretty sure the first couple weeks we started dating, you were like, you know what's a good idea? To just start scaring my girlfriend / person that I'm dating right now.
Startling is
It was
better
really,
word.
I should have known. I should have known at that moment right there that was going to happen forever and it will never end. And then we will have offspring who will also do it. And then you will deny that it is you that is teaching her how to do that, either through osmosis and her watching you do it to me. Because you know what? When I come downstairs in the morning, you hide behind the fridge and she's sitting right there like eating breakfast. And I'm just like, oh, she knows. She's like, oh, got it. Because this is what we do.
Yeah. The other day I came down and you were actually up making breakfast, which was fantastic. And I walked down and she was hiding and scared me. And
she didn't even tell me. She wasn't even like, hey, Mom, just so you know, this is my plan. She was like, in her brain, she's like, I'm about to do it. And it's going to be fabulous.
Yeah. She got me really good. And because I was just like freshly waking up and I was like, I almost punched her because I didn't know what it was. I was like,
the Heisman move. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have ambushed you before though. Like the other, I don't know, maybe more than a month ago.
I can usually hear you going, okay, hide, let's get Dad.
Yeah, that's the cute times. But I'm just priming them to get ready to like, we ambushed him with some water guns, some squirt guns. Yeah. It was fun. And a couple balloons. Were you expecting that?
Yeah.
Were you?
Yeah, when our daughters
came and showed up.
Mom bought squirt guns and told us not to tell you, and we were going to spray
Amazon.
you.
I ordered them on Amazon. They came in, and I was like, I got them, and I stashed them away for a couple of days. And I was like, you know what? I can trust them. I think they're okay. The second, literally, I told Lauren, I was like, okay, don't tell Dad. I heard her walk downstairs and go, Dad, Mom got squirt guns. I was like, damn it. Squandered my plan. No, anyways, it was still fun. And then we did the hose water bucket challenge.
Yeah.
The made up hose water bucket challenge, which our friends gladly partook in. And then none of our siblings did it. We tagged them all.
Nah, they're weak.
That was a hot
weak
day.
Sauce.
It was a hot day. We decided to do that. So it was kind of fun.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So what have you been up to? What's you lately? Everything good?
Mm-hmm. I'm having these little silent...
They're not silent.
I'm not burping out loud, but
you're internally
I'm having
burping.
little like sounds. Sorry about that. What have I been up to? I spent 45 minutes today with my phone trying to get through to a customer service line. Mm. So I'm gonna tell a little story. I'm not gonna say the brand, mm-hmm. But I am gonna tell a customer service story that drives me insane. So I ordered climbing sticks. And for people, okay, nobody's going to understand that. Okay, so I bow hunt and I bought basically sections of ladder that strap onto trees so that you can climb up to a tree stand and you can like carry the sections in.
Tree strap-ons.
Yeah, they strap onto a tree.
Strap-ons. Trees. Okay.
Yeah, they're called climbing sticks.
Yeah.
They're basically little like fold out ladders that you strap to trees.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. So number one, I ordered a 4-pack of these climbing sticks. I ordered 2 4-packs of these climbing sticks when they're on sale. Mm. It was a decent price. And everybody's been like hyping them up in the outdoor hunting world. So I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to try them. They're supposed to be lighter. They're supposed to be lighter weight, and that's a big deal because when you're carrying all this stuff, you know, it's like it's a big selling factor. You want to eliminate the most weight
as possible.
Right.
Yeah.
So I ordered 2 sets of them, and you know, within like a week, and I'm not like poo-pooing on the retailer because it's not really their fault, but the manufacturer's packaging, it came in like what you would find at just a retail store. So like the box that the 4 sticks were in, like that you would see on a shelf, that's what they shipped them in. And when I got them, I was really excited. I was like, oh, they're here. And I brought them in the house. And the first thought that I had, because they come with hardware, right? They come with nuts and bolts and washers and stuff. But they're usually supposed to be in a little bag. So they're sitting on our counter. And I looked over and I saw a washer on the box. And I was like, oh my gosh, wow, look at their packaging. The first thing that I thought was, oh my gosh, this is so well done. They put like rivets or they put like grommets on the packaging to like, oh my gosh, it's so heavy duty. Man, was I wrong. So the box that they had come in had failed. So like the long edge, one of the long edges that was not taped, it's glued like in Taiwan or wherever, Philippines or wherever it was made. So that long edge that was supposed to be glued shut on both boxes had failed, and it had like basically split open. I could have put my fist like in that seam of the box. And then they cheaped out so bad. The little plastic bag that was supposed to hold the hardware ripped and failed because the tree steps are like they're sharp.
And sharp.
Yeah. So they used the crappiest little plastic bag. So that failed. All the nuts and bolts and everything had fallen out, and I lost like the majority of the hardware that was supposed to come. And by hardware, I mean like the nuts and bolts. And I'm like, this is so disappointing. I've got this stuff. I can't even put them together.
Yeah.
So long story short, I sent them like 4 emails, and I'm like, well, if I'm going to do it, I want to document it like in writing. And I like took pictures and I sent them all the stuff. And the actual manufacturer never emailed me back one time. And I finally got on the phone, and I got somebody to answer the phone, and their response to it was, sorry, there's nothing we can do. We don't have the hardware. It just comes in the boxes, and, you know, like we don't have extra hardware. And I was like, wow. And then the guy goes, you know, you might try going to like the local hardware store and just buying more hardware. And at that point, it really pissed me off. And I was like, okay, I just went from being like nice Matt to like, you're going to fix this. And like the poor kid on the phone, he's like, I'm just saying what people told me to say.
Yeah.
But so anyway, they offered to send me a full 4-pack of the sticks with the hardware. Because basically what happened was I had 8 sticks, but I lost enough hardware in the shipping process from the failed packaging that I only had enough hardware to put 4 of them together. So the guy was like, okay, well, I got, like, after I really like gave him a tongue lashing, if you'd call it that. That sounds bad.
Tongue lashing?
A tongue lashing?
Wow.
Isn't that?
Are you old enough for that, though?
Probably.
Are you sure? That's like
I think
what
so.
Older people give to younger kids.
I gave it to him.
Boy, oh boy. Wowzers.
So he was like, oh, my managers approved me to send you a 4-pack of sticks.
Lashing.
So I'm like,
unhear that, honey.
I'm like, all right, that's cool. Like, send me the sticks. Like, just make sure that packaging doesn't fall apart and I can actually put them together. So I don't even know how long ago that was. It's got to be pushing over 2 months. It's probably been 2 months since I ordered the first 2 sets. It's probably been 2 months. And so I called back like 2 weeks ago because I still hadn't gotten the sticks. I'm like, what is going on? The guy said, he was like, yeah, we'll send you a pack of them out. So I called the customer service, finally got in touch after sitting on the phone for like 10 minutes on hold. So they finally picked up, and I'm like, hey, you know, here's my order number. Have they shipped? Like, when should I expect them? And the guy like looks them up and he goes, yeah, so they're like coming in from overseas. We haven't received them yet, but yours will be sent out as soon as we get them. He goes, so they're supposed to be in next week. I'm like, all right. So it's been like 2 weeks since they said that. And so I called today, and I'm like, still haven't seen the sticks, but hopefully I can call with the order number, and they'll give me a tracking number. That way I can know what's going on. So I let the phone ring for 45 minutes just for somebody to pick up. Nobody ever picked up. So then I called another option, like in their 800 number, where I'm like, okay, maybe they're just like putting off customer service. Yeah. It's like, it's getting towards bow season. There's probably a lot of customer service stuff. Maybe they're just super swamped. Yeah. I'm like, maybe their customer service just sucks. So instead of going the customer route where I'm like, select tree stands and then, you know, go here or whatever, it said like, if you're a dealer interested in ordering our products, hit 3. I'm like, you know what? I'll just click on this because they're going to answer like the call from a dealer. They want business, you know, like anybody with their right mind's not going to ignore dealers calling. And nobody picked up there. And I let it ring for like 20 minutes. I'm like, wow. And then I tried another one and it said, this mailbox is full. So it's like, they're just completely dropping the ball. And not to mention the worst part about it was they did all this advertising up front at the beginning of the year saying each stick weighed a certain amount. And like, that was the whole big sales pitch. And so now we're into, it was like July, And when I got in touch with the guys, they were like, yeah, we get calls on these all the time because, all these people are getting them and they weigh a lot more than what we advertise. And I'm like, and he goes, yeah, but we corrected it. We put the new weight, on the box and online and stuff. So I'm like, yeah, holy cow. Can't believe it.
I wonder if
So I've been irritated with customer service today.
coronavirus stuff has
I'm sure.
prevented them from continuing on with their one person that probably was the customer service representative.
The thing is, it's not a small company.
Oh.
It's like a holding company.
Oh.
They have like multiple brands that they manage, some big brands. So it's like they've got to have customer service working they own like a handful of big brands. Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's like the downfall of the outdoor industry right now.
Yeah.
Terrible customer service. I've had 2 or 3 terrible ones, but I'm not.
Change it? What's the solution?
Just stop buying their crap.
Fair.
Here's a tip: don't go to Walmart to get hunting stuff.
That's fair.
Because the stuff that ends up at Walmart is not good for the most part.
Fair. That's a fair assessment.
And that they will probably be in Walmart this year, which is actually probably.
Are they really? Do you know for sure?
They probably will be. Yeah, they were last year.
Interesting. Yeah, that might be an indication that.
Yeah, they literally might have like everybody that works for them like filling packages right now.
Interesting.
But I was not happy about that.
That's not fun.
No. So besides that, I'm just trying to get over my customer service woes. Because I'd really actually like to get them.
You hold CS grudges.
Yeah.
You do.
I do.
I let that go pretty quickly.
You're very forgiving.
I am.
Like you could send your money out, get a product, whatever. It could be completely janked up.
I can make it work.
It's still pretty close.
Here's the positives. What are the list of pros?
Yeah, I'm not like that. I'm not like that at all.
Thanks, Mom.
I don't like that at all.
So speaking of positives and pros and weird things, I bought somebody's order in line the other day. So funny story. Like I've seen the pay it forward, like random acts of kindness, whatever. I'm all into that. Like I buy in 100%. I think that's so cool. Like I'm a full blown proponent of creating a positive energy and attitude out of like just a choice. I think that's so cool. So the other day there was a lady that she let me go ahead of her. Like she had ordered, okay, so the McDonald's where we live, there's like 2 lines or whatever. And like we both pulled up at the same time. And I think she was done before me, but I ended up pulling, we were both done at the same time, and she was on the farther one outside of the turn or whatever.
Yeah.
So we both started to go, and we were like, oh, and we both stopped at the same time. And she was she flagged me on, and I was like, oh, thank you. That was nice. Cause I'm pretty sure it was her turn. And so I went up ahead of her, and I was like, that was really nice, that lady. And she okay. You know how some people do it and they're like, you can go. And you're like, that wasn't nice.
Is that how you do it?
No, I'm always like, go ahead. Or hey, no
it's
worries.
Like that Dane Cook thing.
Yeah.
Where he's like, you give them 3.
Yeah.
And then you're like, get the hell out of the way.
Yeah. So some people get you can tell in their gestures if they're happy about it or if they're not happy about it. And she was very kind and happy. And she was like, oh no, it's okay. Go ahead. And I was like, wow, that was really nice of you. And she was probably going to work. It was early in the morning. So I thought it was really cool. And the funny thing is I should buy that lady her food this morning. Because why not? She was nice to me. I'll be nice to her. I'll get some happiness and some weird serotonin boost out of it. And so will she, and we'll go about our days.
Yeah.
So I thought about it, and then I chickened out. As I was getting up to the front, I was like, no, I won't do that. It's so weird. And then the girl at the front was like, did you have just the Diet Coke? And I had ordered some food or whatever for the family. And I was like, no, I had a couple other things. And she goes, oh, okay. And I said, is that the lady behind me? And she goes, yeah. And I was like, that's all she had, just a Diet Coke. She goes, yeah. And I was like, this is going to be weird, but can I buy that for her? And she goes, it's not weird. People do it all the time. Yeah. Hold on. And I was like, cool. You're so lame. And I know you would have been so cringed out.
Laughed.
You would have been so cringed out. It was cringy, but I felt so good at the end.
That was the best $1.06 you've spent in a long time.
I know.
Your karma is way up there from that.
So it felt so good. And then as she was driving away, she waved in her mirror, and I waved back, and I was like, that was awesome. Okay, bye. That's me in a nutshell right there.
Did you have a good day after that?
I did. It was a great day. I found 3 caterpillars on the way home that day.
Oh, should we talk about that?
Yes. Anyways, yeah.
Is there something
Wrong
similar
with
to
me? Yes.
like Alcoholics Anonymous, but for caterpillars?
Maybe
like CA?
monarchs are making you maniac.
My wife has a
M4.
problem.
I
My wife has a little bit of a problem right now.
Hi,
She has an addiction.
my name's Carly, and I'm a monoholic.
A monoholic.
So,
A caterpillar-holic.
Let's go back. Let's rewind.
1 year.
3 years ago.
3 years ago? Whoa.
Okay, so 3 years ago, when we first moved in April, May, in this area, April.
2 years ago, dude.
No. We're on the 3rd. In April, it'll be 3 years. So we're on the 3rd
2.5
summer.
years ago. Yeah,
Okay.
2.5 years ago.
So 2.5 years ago,
Got
when
it.
I was taking the kids for a walk, there was, I don't know if I told you this. There was a chrysalis. I think I did. There was a chrysalis on the
You've
ground.
been withholding
No.
the
Listen.
chrysalis story from me?
Maybe. Have you not heard this? Okay. There was a
No.
chrysalis
Okay.
on the ground. And like the kids, so Lila and Lauren were like running
What's
around.
a chrysalis?
I was pregnant with Adam. So
What's
I
a
had
chrysalis?
a stroller.
For all the viewers that don't know.
A chrysalis is when a caterpillar or some type of larva of a butterfly.
A pupa?
No. When the larva of the butterfly, when the larva from the butterfly
I
turns
just got
into a caterpillar.
visually scolded for being inaccurate about that.
Okay.
Did you just give me the dirty eyes? Hey, dummy. Don't.
No. I was like, you let me tell my story.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
The larva from the butterfly, and actually, in fairness, please, anybody who is any type of entomologist, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm friends with a zoology person who is also an entomology minor or some shit. Shouts out. I don't know what I'm talking about. She probably does. But here's the deal. So I basically have been collecting
Kidnapping.
butterflies. So 3 years ago, this started. I found a chrysalis on the ground. Didn't know what it was. Like the girls were running around. I was pregnant. I had the stroller and I was just like pushing the stroller or whatever. Kids were running. And I looked at it and I was like, oh, that's weird. It doesn't look like a leaf. Like I was like, I think that's like what a butterfly comes out of. Put it in the stroller. Didn't think about it. Walked home. That night I went back up to the stroller and I was like, oh shit, I forgot that thing. Like I don't know what it does. I'll look it up on Google. Pulled it out of the stroller. Dropped it on the floor. At the same time I was taking a step and I stepped on it. I
squished it?
I squished it. It squirted. It was the worst. 100%. Just like I wrecked that being's existence. Done. I felt so bad. I was like, oh my God, I don't even know what that was.
So you saved it?
I picked it up. It must have come off of the leaf or like a bird got it and then dropped it or something weird and it wasn't attached. But at that time, I didn't know that they were like attached under leaves. I was like, oh, it just like curled up on the ground and crystallized and then that was it. Nope. So I saved it and then I took it. So that happened. That was year 1. Yeah. Accidents happen. Thanks, babe. That was year 1. Year 2, my wonderful, beautiful mother-in-law who is in the next room right now. Shouts out, Carol.
She might be downstairs.
She is visiting right now and it's come pretty full circle. So basically a year ago, she was like, hey, I don't know if y'all know this, but like Monarch Butterfly caterpillars are on milkweed and you guys have like a ton of milkweed in your yard. And we were like, oh, cool. So like it started by like, she went to the store, bought a hamper and like bought some mesh to put on the top of some clothespins or whatever. And we like plucked a couple caterpillars and like put a milkweed in. And then they were just like doing their little caterpillar thing. And then all of a sudden they started to crystallize at the top. They like crawled up the side and hung and they start to basically shed their skin. They molt. It's called molting. Don't judge me. I am so nerding out right now and I'm proud of myself. It's fine.
Get into detail.
I'm 30
Teach people.
and I am now learning about the cycle of life. Okay, let's get into details here. So when you find a monarch butterfly caterpillar.
Wait, hold on.
You ask me questions. Interview me. Interview me, the person who is the monarch queen.
So last year, my mother,
yes,
your mother-in-law,
yes,
showed you basically like amateurishly how to do it.
Yeah, she was like, hey, I don't know if you know
So
this.
what does the process look like from what like normal people could do.
Okay.
Where do you go to look?
Okay.
What do they look like?
Okay.
And then what do you do once you pick them up?
Okay, so all I know, I am like a novice, like Monarch butter.
Oh, you're way past novice now.
I mean, the people I follow on Instagram, though, I feel like I'm
have a
way out of my
sign
league.
coming to put up on
You're getting
in
ahead
the
of
property.
yourself right now, and you're calling me out, and I don't like it.
to call it.
Yeah. Okay, so basically what we have in our field right now is we have a bunch of milkweeds, and milkweed is a weed, I think.
I don't know
like
what it
it's
is.
technically like it's actually really pretty.
There's four different species, right?
I found out it is related to a lilac. It's like in the same genealogy area.
Yeah. So most people probably know what milkweed is.
Yeah.
Based on when the seed pods at the end of the year dry up, they crack open. The seed pods get big.
Yeah.
They dry up. They're kind of like a bulbous shape, and they crack open, and then all the little white, fluffy things that float in the air with little seeds on it, those are milkweed seeds.
Yeah.
So before those seeds start to form, like in the middle of the year, like right now, we're in August, they kind of just look like big leafed weeds, plants growing like out alongside the road or in fields or whatever. And the milkweed is what the monarch butterflies lay their eggs on. And then the caterpillars obviously come out of the eggs, and that you find them on the milkweed.
Yeah.
Right?
So what I've learned so far is, in very general speaking terms, there are 4 generations per year of monarch butterflies.
Okay.
So basically, like they migrate, and it's kind of crazy. Like I've been reading a little bit. Like entomologists, people who study butterflies, still don't understand why they migrate. Like they don't know why. Like why would you migrate that far away? Like why don't you just go whatever? But they migrate to a place in Mexico where they all like
from the United States.
From the United States, mostly in Canada.
Do they come from Canada?
They do.
Okay.
Some of them are in Canada, and they see like some people have probably seen like big, huge trees, literally just like full of monarchs, and it's really cool. They're like awesome looking.
Monarchs are the orange and black.
Yes.
Caterpillars,
so swallowtails are yellow.
They look a lot like a monarch, but they're yellow.
And they have like a long, like little droopy teardrop thing off their wings.
Because early this year, we thought there were like different colored monarchs.
Yes. I was like, oh, monarchs can also be yellow. Not true. Not the case. Didn't know that until this year. And
monarchs are all basically the same size.
They are very similar. The males are a little bit similar, or a little bit bigger.
Yeah, we were seeing small orange butterflies, moths, whatever they were.
Moths.
And we were like, oh, there's a little monarch. That doesn't exist.
Nope, doesn't exist. Right. So, yeah, I've been like really digging into what this is all about because it's so cool, and we've been teaching the kids. The kids love it. Like,
the girls love it.
To see it. I mean, we find caterpillars all over the place. We've figured it out. There are some strategies.
Our 1-year-old, almost 2-year-old little boy, who we were like certain he would just crush and like kill the caterpillars.
He's so gentle.
He has figured out that when we go out and collect caterpillars off the milkweeds, he will, if you point to one, he'll walk up and very gently grab. I mean, it's a little rough, but for a 1-year-old, it's pretty good. He'll grab it and pick it off and walk over and put it in the little container or whatever. Yeah. And never tries to squish it or like step on it. They're very tolerant.
I've found like he's
kids or the caterpillars?
Both, but specifically the caterpillars.
Yeah.
No, he's very tolerant to the caterpillars are very tolerant to like him picking them up and like, you know, he's figuring out like pressure control. Right. Like he knows. But I finally I was really kind of afraid to let him pick them up because he like every once in a while he'd like roll his fingers because he wants to feel it, but he doesn't understand it's like too hard to squish.
Feels like Play-Doh.
He has not killed one yet.
Yeah.
He hasn't. And I've been very, very like really close by when he's doing it.
Yeah.
But so we went out the other day with your mom. We were like looking for caterpillars or whatever. And we'd show him the one on the leaf and then he would grab it. And you could tell he got a little nervous because he'd be like, oh, I don't like holding onto it. And he'd go over to it and he'd be like, oh, okay, I'm done. And it was like the cutest thing ever. Yeah. And he's getting really good at knowing he can't just be like, you're dead. As much as his little boy brain wants to be like, I'm going to squish you.
For sure
he's like, no, I'm going to be gentle, which is really sweet. But It's really cool. It's okay. It's an activity you can do with your family. It's
what time does it
free.
happen?
You mean in terms
Describe
of the year?
time. So go back to the migration.
You know my brain. You have to like interview me, or
Yeah.
I'll just go into
Okay.
all kinds of different.
So monarch butterfly
tangents.
caterpillars
Yes.
are the yellow and black and white
Orange.
What?
Oh, caterpillars.
The
yeah,
caterpillars.
Yeah.
They're yellow.
Yes.
I thought they were green for some reason.
Swallowtails have green on them.
Yeah. So when you see them, they can be like itty bitty tiny, up to like a couple inches long,
Yeah.
and they're yellow, white, and black striped. And you're not supposed to eat them, right?
They're poisonous
They're poisonous technically because they eat the milkweed.
which has a component
not
in
good
it
for you.
called cardiac glycosides, and that is the actual milk that comes out of
Right.
the milkweed, and it makes them poisonous to other animals, and
Yeah.
the larva or the eggs are poisonous also.
Yeah. So if you're questioning if a plant that you're looking at is like a milkweed, if you're like, well, I don't know if you tear a leaf off of a milkweed, it's going to have white, gooey, sticky stuff come out of it. And that's the stuff that is poisonous, basically to us.
To humans and animals.
Yeah.
Alike. Besides the monarch caterpillar and the Suffolk, whatever that's called.
Yeah.
The weird moth.
There's a little weird
Creepy
furry
weird
one
moth.
that we have too.
Anyways, yeah.
So the monarchs basically that you see in the United States in the spring or like
Tussock
early
moths are-
early summer
Yeah.
are the ones that have flown from Mexico back.
Kind of.
Right?
How
does the migration happen?
Okay, so the first two generations that happen, what I've read so far is the butterflies that are in Mexico overwintering, overwinter.
Yeah.
I think they call it overwintering.
Okay. So they go down so they don't freeze.
Yes, they go down so that they stay warm and they stay active.
Right.
Their offspring fly up to basically the southern United States. So like Texas, Georgia, Carolinas, whatever. And then they lay eggs. And that second generation that came from the first generation laying eggs, they fly north to basically like the Midwest, Canada, a little farther north than that, whatever.
They literally do what ducks do.
Yeah.
But
they're butterflies and they're
Yeah.
like slow and they're weird and like they still can't figure it out.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
It like blows my mind. Like how do these little fluttery
They're
little
literally
things-
doing the exact same thing that ducks do.
Ducks fly so fast.
Yeah, but ducks come from like the northern part of Canada,
Yeah.
like down to like the southern part of the United States.
Right.
And like I don't know if they go all the way to Mexico or not.
I don't know.
But so basically the butterflies just go from like the United States to Mexico and like
Yeah.
the southern part of Canada.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah. So the second generation comes up here and they're like that's the first butterflies that you see in the summer are the second generation that
They're
have come from
from-
Mexico. They're
Yeah.
the offspring of the
Yeah.
butterflies from Mexico. And then the ones that are here during the summer that lay eggs are the grand butterflies of
They're the
the ones
second
from
generation.
Mexico, the third generation.
Third generation.
That's the next
because
one.
they don't go from the United States to Mexico and back.
Right.
They go from the United States, lay their
the-
eggs in Mexico, die,
Yeah.
and then the eggs
go
come back
north.
to the United States
Yes. And then
or north.
Yeah. And then what happens, so the third generation are usually the ones that you see flying around for the most of the summer. So
Yeah.
they're basically from like end of May to like June. And this is where we are in northern Michigan, like end of May, June. And then like end of July is when they start to lay their eggs and die off. And then the next, like end of July,
Final
beginning of August, middle of August is when that group then
Goes to
flies.
Mexico.
And they, interestingly enough, the fourth generation does not reproduce. They fly all the way to Mexico. So the fourth generation gets screwed because they basically don't get to hang out and do nothing and lay eggs and just be people. They don't get to have half of
They do nothing but
migration.
fly.
They literally migrate all the way down to Mexico.
That'd be more fun though.
Because they get to see more?
Yeah.
Like they get to check
They're not
more
just
things
like-
off their bucket list? Or like, yeah.
Yeah, why not, right?
It's crazy. Like, why though? Why does that happen?
So what we have found
Yeah.
is that we found number one, we've gotten a lot better at finding the caterpillars.
We figured out where to look.
And we're doing
when.
our best to make sure that we're not like screwing up their migration.
Yeah.
But so we basically find pockets of milkweed.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool thing is once you find a couple caterpillars on certain milkweeds, you can go back a few days later and there might be more.
Because there's more eggs. And
Right.
stuff
The eggs keep growing.
bigger.
And so you find them on milkweed. You can bring them back. And as long as you have enough milkweed plants in the area, what we found is you don't actually want to pull up and remove like the full milkweed plant.
You want to keep them rooted.
Yeah, like take leaves off of them so that the milkweed stays there, because it's very important to keep the milkweed patches intact and not ruin it.
Yeah.
And probably we may have been guilty of like throwing away some of the itty bitty tiny caterpillars before we realized how small they could be.
Yeah, we're learning.
Yeah.
In the process of learning, we didn't realize how small the cat. We were looking for like the big ones.
The big ones.
And there are ones. If anybody follows Matt on Instagram, he shared a photo of a dime and the smallest caterpillar we have ever found compared side by side, and it is insane. And I
like
was
if you can
not
imagine
looking.
like a United States quarter.
Yeah.
Like the outside of a quarter has the little ribs,
Grooves,
the grooves. That caterpillar was probably the size of one of those individual little grooves. It was super small. Yeah.
But anyways,
so when you pick them up,
yeah.
what do we do? What do you do?
So we right now have
And how long does it take?
Hamper, like a clothes hamper. And we put milkweed, so you have to like gather, I'd say every day, every other day, you have to get like a new milkweed. They eat through them so fast.
And by hamper, you actually mean like the
a
pop-up
hamper
mesh.
Yeah.
Not like
Right.
not like a hard plastic with big holes.
That's fair. Yeah, like a pop-up mesh little hamper.
Air ventilation.
Yes, air ventilation.
Yeah.
Which we're probably going to upgrade to a fish tank at some time, because spoken like a true butterfly enthusiast.
We didn't do a very good job with our first setup.
That's okay.
But
and that's okay. Every year we've gotten better. It went from crushed chrysalis. That was a close one.
I made a joke about.
No.
Should I not say that?
You'll have to bleep it.
No, why?
Because you said the slang word of it, and you bleeped it.
No, that's a way worse.
Oh, okay.
That the C word is a way worse word.
Okay.
So
No.
Carly has. So the way it works is she's got this pop-up mesh laundry hamper, and then she puts fabric across the top, and she like clothespins it. So what happens is you get the caterpillars in there, and they eat milkweed that you put down in there for a while.
Yeah.
And when they get big, they crawl up the sides of the hamper up, and they hang. They make a little J. They actually hang off the top to make the chrysalis. So the chrysalis forms. And right now we've got on our fabric on the top of it, we've probably got 20, something like that, 20 chrysalises that are basically the caterpillars metamorphosizing into butterflies.
Yeah.
So I was outside lighting a bonfire tonight, and Carly came out with like the fabric, and she goes, "What do you think?" And she was like joking about like, "Oh, this is like, do you like my fashion statement?" Yeah, it's like a skirt. So she held it up, and I said, "Wow, that's cool. You've got a chrysalis on your clitoris."
Oh my God.
And I thought it was funny. Right?
Yeah, it's so funny.
A chrysalis on your... So I made the joke because our kids don't know what that is. And my mom knew what it was, and she laughed, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, that's so inappropriate."
That's fair, because the kids would have been like, "What?"
Yeah.
What's
So
that?
I like to make jokes because my kids don't know what the meaning of that word is yet.
That's true. That's fair.
It was funny.
It was funny.
And you almost just slipped and said that.
I did.
The same.
Chrysalis.
They sound very similar.
The chrysalis. Okay, so we're gonna
just so people understand that little inside joke that you just started laughing about.
Thank you for describing that. So
it looked like it looked like you had a bush of chrysalises.
Why didn't you take a picture?
I was too far away. And it was cold out, and I didn't want like the caterpillars to get like messed up.
Okay. So anyways, our chrysalis is,
that was so inappropriate.
Chrysalite.
Why do I always ruin our podcast with inappropriate things?
I don't know. That's your thing.
I'm going to regret this like 50 years from now.
So, what was it? What were we even talking about?
I don't remember.
I said we went from one chrysalis in a stroller that I squished to like 20 more like chrysalises that are on top. Chrysalises that are on top of they're on top of our
chrysalists.
Chrysalists.
I don't know if,
I don't know
if there's
I'm
a
gonna have to
plural.
talk to Chip Taylor, who's the head of the monarchwatch.org.
Yeah.
We'll tag him in the description below. I am so, okay, I will be so honest. I am 100% nerding out over learning about butterflies.
It's very interesting.
And like gathering them and like the conservation of said butterflies. And like, I literally have gone down a rabbit hole with this. And it's fun though. It's basically free. You're helping somebody who is really involved and passionate about butterflies. If you participate in any type of conservation, whether it comes to replanting milkweed or growing the population or helping any kind of like butterfly or caterpillar not get eaten by a bird.
It's true. So
my God,
the success rate of the caterpillars in the wild, and like the reason I don't think this is a major problem is because birds and other things and like these other weird insect caterpillars, they're all competing with the pretty monarch caterpillars. Sure. So the first year, last year, we actually had a few monarch butterflies come out of the chrysalis. Yeah. And if you've never seen it, go to YouTube, like Google monarch caterpillar into chrysalis into butterfly, and there's time lapses of it, and it's insane. Yeah. Like we were talking about this, we were joking, and if someone said to me, like earlier in my life, like, oh, this bug, this caterpillar is going to turn into this, I'd go, you're full of shit. Yeah. And I'm like, there's no way. Like unless you really like, how is that going to happen? Yeah. Yeah. But when you actually watch the process of like a little caterpillar munching on some milkweed, and then all of a sudden you look and you're like, oh, it crawled up and it turned in, it's hanging upside down. Yeah. And oh, wow. Like in a matter of a half an hour, it goes from being a caterpillar and all of a sudden it's this like chrysalis with little gold things on it and it's green. And then like 10 days later or whatever it is, 12 days later, a monarch butterfly sitting in a cage. You're like, holy shit. Yeah, it really kind of humbles you a little bit about life. And you're like, wow, what? Yeah. This is just happening out in the wild at all times. We were discussing elements. Yeah, we were discussing the fact that we still are expecting like an alligator to hang upside down, go into a chrysalis, and like a pterodactyl to come out of it. I posed the question one day. It makes sense to me. If after saying this, pterodactyls, hear us out. What if pterodactyls were actually like some form of reptilian creature? Yeah, that crawled up like a tree caiman and like hung their tails, and then they like what if iguanas crystallized and then they turned into pterodactyls? I think that's a thing. I'm telling you. Because why not? When you witness the monarch butterfly pop out. Yeah. So okay. Hold on. I'm getting all fired up. So what you do is you go out, you find yourself some milkweed, you find a patch of milkweed, find yourself some caterpillars, put them in a thing with some milkweed in it, let them eat it. They poop a lot. They poop a lot. You have to clean their cage quite a bit. Yep. So you feed them until they go up to the top of whatever you got. Mm-hmm. Here's a little tip. Get yourself a glass fish tank, a rectangular glass fish tank with a wire mesh top, because you can lift that bad boy off and all the chrysalis hang right on the fabric. Not good. Don't do the fabric thing. No. Do the fish tank thing. The fish tank thing. Go on to Craigslist or whatever. Yeah. Facebook Marketplace. Get one. Go to the thrift store and get yourself a fish tank. And when those things turn into a green chrysalis, you give it a pupa. A pupa? Pupa. Okay. It's got gold on it. It's really pretty. You give that thing however long to just sit there. Couple 10 days. If you're like my crazy wife, she'll sit there and watch those damn things, and then she'll get real pissed off when she sees that a butterfly came out and she didn't see it happen. Can we talk about the fact that I basically cried when I sat there I was having kind of a rough day. They turn black, and you can actually see the monarch butterfly wings inside, and then you're like, oh, it's go time. So cool. But it literally, they come out, and it takes like 10 seconds. 30 seconds. And I watched a full, emerging like a time lapse of moment on YouTube. Way fast. It takes like 30 seconds to a minute. You're lucky if you see it. Yeah. So, we've released like a dozen of them so far. And we've given a few of our neighbors as like gifts, some like little fun things like to do, caterpillars and some milkweed thing. We're like, you literally don't have to do anything. Yeah, just like watch them. Put and then when they turn in, so they pop out as like a little monarch butterfly, and within like an hour, the blood like flows into their wings, and they go from being like this long to like this long And then like within like 3 hours, they start flapping their wings slowly. And then you just take them outside and let them fly away.
It's so cool. And
It's
to let
crazy.
the kids do it is really awesome too, because
Our kids love it.
They're learning about all kinds of nature-y things, and they have fun seeing it from start to finish and like collecting the caterpillars and then watching them actually like metamorphosize into butterflies. It's so fun. And I bought like some butterfly books, so we've been like
talk about the tagging. Talk about the tagging.
Oh yeah. So what's really cool this year, and last year I kind of knew it existed, but I didn't really know how to go about it, and I wasn't as confident in my butterfly like rearing journey as I was this year.
Your general butterfly knowledge.
Yes, exactly. So I decided to look up how to tag monarchs this year. And what's really cool is there's a website called monarchwatch.org, and they have, they operate.
Watch.
Yeah, they operate out of the University of Kansas I'm going to screw it up. They operate out of the University of Kansas, but they basically
what
have.
City is Kansas in?
I don't know.
Wichita is Kansas State.
Yeah, I know. It's not Wichita. It's, I don't know. I'll have to see. So they have a department where they have a program and they tag and they watch the monarch migration and basically study like how monarchs, which are technically pollinators, are traveling like all around the United States and going whatever. They've been tracking their migrations for like 20 plus years, I think, or more. And there's a guy named, I think his name is Chip Taylor, and he's been doing it for a long time.
You're getting personal on this.
I really am. I'll tag him. I don't even care. But he's been doing all this stuff, and it's really cool. They have basically these really specialized tags that you can buy. They're like the size of, I don't know, they're like a tiny little button size of a sticker, basically. And once you can either catch a full-grown adult monarch butterfly with a net safely, or you can wait until your butterflies come out of the chrysalis and they
tag your own.
You can tag your own.
Tag those bad
which
boys.
is really cool.
Lawrence, Kansas.
That's right. I was about to say, Lawrence, Kansas. So thank you.
You're welcome.
So basically they send you these tags, and all of the money goes to all of the money are donations basically to all the research and like all the stuff that they do.
Manhattan,
Kansas.
Is Kansas State.
So Lawrence is University of Kansas. Right? Okay.
Yep. Shout out to Kansas.
Got
University
it.
of Kansas.
So you get the tags, you put them on a non-vein site. There's like a little, I don't even remember what it's called. I suck. It's a little spot on their forewing, or they're below their forewing, that is a little like non-veiny area. So you can push down a little bit harder.
So
it like sticks to their wing.
Yeah.
And whatever they have developed in terms of like adhesive sticks on there, I guess.
Super glue.
And they literally just like fly with their little tagged wing down to presumably Mexico, if that's where they're headed, or if that's how far they get.
Yeah.
And then they, part of the donations go to paying people to find these tagged butterflies and turn them in. So they pay $5 per tagged butterfly. And a lot of people go down to this site where all these butterflies will like migrate to and like overwinter or whatever. And that's pay
easy
you.
Money. They pay
you
money.
$5 per butterfly that you find that's tagged, and you pick it up and you like record whatever it is. You have to, I don't know if you have to like take a picture or turn the butterfly in or whatever.
It's really crazy.
It really is. So people go down. I don't know if it's like,
it's basically the
butterfly
exact same thing as banding a duck or a goose.
So then when you find them, you submit the information. What?
Can you band a butterfly leg?
I don't think so. Like just a zip tie like floating behind it.
Just
poor thing.
Little itty bitty tiny little metal band.
I don't know. But anyways, yeah.
Sorry, I totally wrecked your
No. We've gone down a big rabbit hole here. But yeah, so basically you can literally collect a caterpillar in your backyard. Watch it grow into a freaking butterfly. Tag it. It flies down to another country. And then some person finds it and they record it. And then you're like part of the thing. And guess what? The best part is you get like a certificate.
You get like points.
You get like a certificate. Like if someone finds your butterfly, it's like, congrats. You did everything right. And your butterfly made it to Mexico. And that is the highlight of my entire 30s so far.
Are you hoping that you're going to get that letter in the mail?
What's so cool is
saying, like, we found your butterfly.
It's basically like there's a tracking number, and you can like check on all your numbers to see. It's like the lottery. It's like bingo.
That's
really
cool,
I got to check my numbers. Yeah.
Well, I mean, so like when you shoot a banded duck or a goose.
Yeah, how does that work?
There's a phone number on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So like when you get the band, you can call the phone number and they'll tell you, like, you report that you have the duck or goose.
Oh, I didn't
and
know
you
that.
say like where you are.
Yeah.
And they will tell you where it originated. So it's pretty cool.
And you know what? It really
Same
helps.
thing.
I think it really is cool for biologists and people who study wildlife in terms of data and like recording and tracking. I love all things data and whatever. Like I nerd out to that stuff. But I think that's really cool that, you know, if I can help somebody like figure out why butterflies fly south, which then like adds to why pollinators pollinate in certain areas, and then basically global warming and world peace, I'm all for it.
Can I do a little segue?
Of course.
So I started watching the Joe Rogan podcast where he had Post Malone on last night. That just like recently came out.
Yeah.
And they started talking about crazy shit. I'm thinking they had to have been high. Like the stuff they were talking about was just like ridiculous. But speaking of pollinators and like bees and stuff, did you know that those like Asian hornets attack honeybees in the United States?
The murder hornets?
Yeah, the murder hornets. But it's crazy how they do it.
I heard.
Yeah, were you like listening on that?
No, I read about it before, like when they first started talking about it.
I guess I just ignored it because I was like, oh, who cares?
Yeah.
You know, it's like media hyping up to something. But they legit, these murder hornets, legitimate, or I think they're Asian hornets.
Yeah, that's their
whatever it is.
normal name.
Whatever it is, like a small number of these hornets will basically hang out and fly and catch bees, like they say, quote unquote, exhausted bees coming back from flying around or whatever. And they'll catch them as they're coming back into the hive, and they catch them in midair, decapitate them, fly them back to like their own hive or whatever, and feed them to the new young of the murder hornets. So like the crazy thing is they said like a dozen or like 10 to 20 of these murder hornets can literally wipe out like tens of thousands of honeybees in a day. They just kill them all. And then they take over the hive and basically make that their new hive.
Do you know how the
crazy is that?
honeybees combat that? They make a bee ball. Did you see that?
No, I did not.
They literally make a ball of themselves, a bee ball. They
It's kind of crazy.
They put themselves in the same little floating ball. And then they like throw themselves at the murder hornet. I'm not kidding.
Like most people,
a bee ball.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Like you make fun of me when I see hornets and stuff, and I'm like, they're mean little bastards.
Oh, I got stung last year by a yellow jacket. Hornets. It was not fun.
The bees I'm not afraid of because when they sting, they're done. But like hornets bite and shit. They're like, they're nasty.
They bite?
Yeah, they can bite. Like that's how those murder hornets do it. They've got like pinchers or like jaws on the front.
Oh, I would just punch it. I would punch it right in the face.
I don't like hornets.
I don't either. That's why I would punch it.
Yeah. Anyway, that was totally.
If you see me outside and I look like I'm shadow boxing, I'm punching
Who just said
hornets.
they were going to send us like bees?
What?
Didn't you say?
He said he bought a bee. He bought like a
something that
like
attracts
a bee house.
Bees. Oh, I don't want that.
Or it was like a bee. No, it's like basically like a. It's like a.
It
hanging,
attracts like bees.
Yeah, it's like a hanging bee thing, and they like come in like.
I don't want it.
They add to your garden because they pollinate and all the flowers, and they cross pollinate and whatever that stuff is. I don't know. I kill everything I plant.
We got lots of caterpillars.
I can raise a caterpillar. I cannot grow a freaking tomato or anything that you can eat. No. Anything that's edible that would keep you alive. No. The thing that flies away, I can do.
Can I just tell you something? Yeah. It's driving me insane that your phone has been leaning and it hasn't fallen. And it hasn't, and I'm like looking at the thing going, how is it not slipping on this table?
And I keep moving this.
Yeah, and I'm like, just fall already. Just fall. Just please fall.
It's not gonna.
No. I think this is the first podcast we've done since I had to get a new phone. Pretty excited about that.
We've done a lot of things since we've done. I was just thinking about that. Yeah, you got a new phone.
I had an iPhone that I got in 2013. We're in 2020, and I had refused to get a new one, even though mine was super old, because the new iPhones don't have the headphone jacks where you can actually plug in like headphones, and it pissed me off. They took it out, and I'm like, I kept waiting, and I'm like, one of these years they're going to bring it back. Yeah. And finally my my phone got so old that I was charging it like 5 times a day.
It was bad.
It would last me like an hour and then I'd have to charge it again. It finally got to the point where the low battery just caused the logic board in the phone to crash and die and burn. And I even tried to get some people to put a new battery in it. And they put the battery in. They looked at me and they're like, how old is you? Like, what did you do? They're like, we couldn't even get it to even like act like it was going to come back on. But I must say, it's been very nice. I upgraded to an optical thing that I have not had.
Yeah.
So that's how weird I was. I didn't want to get it. I bought a phone scope. Basically what it is it's a case that you click your phone into, and it has an eyepiece that slides over the eyepiece of a spotting scope, and you can basically record stable video with your phone or do photos or whatever. And I've already put it to good use. So I guess it was
worth it.
It was time to upgrade.
It was.
Phone.
I know. You got to get on the recording your wife with your kids train though, because
I've done better.
You have. I know.
I used to not record video because my phone would go halfway through the video. It'd go, your memory's full. Please delete whatever. And I'd be like,
yeah.
I went from 16 gigabytes of hard drive or whatever storage space memory on my old phone to like whatever this has 128
billion,
and it's like stupid. It's so ridiculous that I had that for so long, but whatever.
That was you held out. I think you got your money's worth. That's the good thing.
I did. I went through two phone cases. I wore out the first OtterBox.
Oh, it cracked, didn't it?
Yeah, the whole thing started to fall apart.
That's right.
I literally had it for so long.
Great.
Are you yawning?
No. I was just touching my nose.
Oh, I was gonna say we don't yawn in this podcast at all.
You just touched your nose too. See, we're just doing the same thing.
Yeah. What's our next podcast gonna be?
I don't know.
What do you think?
What should we do?
I don't know. I kind of wanted to do like a preseason hunting podcast.
Yeah,
talk about like what we do, because there is how do I say this without giving too much away? There's a public land hunting spot where I shot a couple deer last year, and there are bucks crawling all over down there. Carly's even so excited that she wants to go hunt with me again this year.
I'm a fair weather fan when it comes to hunting.
Once I start showing her video footage of big deer,
she's
like, you want to take me
as
this
a
year?
Parent, your goal sometimes in life is to maximize your time efficiency. So here's the deal. When your kid goes down for a nap, your brain either goes to, I'm literally going to go to sleep, or I'm going to get 8 million things done right now while my kid is not pulling on me or like needing me because they love me and they're sweet.
Yeah.
So my brain is just wired. And I also worked in a job where like you had to gain efficiencies for clients to basically be like, look, you're spending your money the best way possible, and here's all the things we're going to give you. So my brain is wired to do that. So now when you're like, oh, look at all these bucks that I found, and there's so many, and I'm like, well, I could probably, my odds are higher this year because we know that they're there.
Yeah.
I know that I really enjoy venison, and we filled our freezer last year, and I had a great time eating it. It was wonderful. The kids love it. It can feed our family. And I'm like, I can contribute. You did all the work, so I'll just jump in there. I know. Because I know there's like
big bucks.
What I've learned from watching you in the hunting industry and like hearing other people, it's taboo. Not a lot of people talk about it, but there is hunting etiquette. And if you step on people's toes, woo, doggy, you will get your reputation slandered. I don't even know if that's the right word.
There's a lot of hard work that goes into
There is. I agree.
Finding deer.
I know.
Figuring deer out.
I know. I figured since we're in the same family though, like
okay. So one of these times, and maybe the next one we'll talk him into it. But I have a buddy. Speaking of hunting podcasts, that I would love to do. I have a buddy that lives out west that was actually attacked by a bear.
He was,
and I would like to have him on this podcast to talk about it. It's as traumatic as it probably would be for him to reenact and relive it mentally. But I think that shit would be fun to hear about.
I agree. And I think, you know what, he probably would be a wealth of information you could tap into every once in a while or frequently, because
absolutely
he is also a fishing guide on the
You're giving too much information away. The surprise of the guest appearance is going to be ruined.
Well, okay. Now you know fishing and hunting. That's all you know.
So if we can get...
two overlap a lot.
Because I never heard the full story. I only heard like parts of the story.
And you know what's kind of cool too? Like this setup, like we're here to listen.
I can't plug my thing into my phone because I don't have a headphone jack anymore.
Dongle and then get over it. It's fine. Oh my God.
I hate it.
You hate new things. Why? Are you afraid of change?
Apple, if you're listening to my podcast,
they're not.
Please bring it back.
They're not. They're all gone.
Bring it back. I want my headphone jack.
They don't care about you and your stupid dongle. They don't care. They just want you to be happy with what they make.
You want to know how... Side note. I had to go pick up... This is going to be like the daddest dad sounding. I had to go pick up some pallet racking. I had to go pick up some used pallet racking from a guy down south. And so I made a deal with Carly. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna take the vehicle down and go pick up this pallet racking, and you stay home with the kids for a couple hours, and I'll be back.
That was accurate.
I downloaded
I almost just turned on a voice effect for you there.
Yeah, I downloaded an audiobook that I was planning to listen to, and our car's a little bit older, so you can't just Bluetooth it into like the speakers. You have to actually plug the freaking audio cable in and plug it in with a cable. And I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. I'm going to get like 3 hours of this audiobook done. And I got in the car and I started driving, and my old phone had it. This one did not.
Oh, so this was like your first new phone trip.
Yeah.
And you didn't think about it. The worst part in the whole world was, though, that earlier that day, I was working out in like a pavilion park.
And you found one?
And I found a dongle that was the property of a local business that was nearby. And it was in the car because I put it in like the little seat, or I put it in the little console to like drop it off to them later that day. And it was sitting right there. And you didn't know,
right next to me the whole time.
I didn't tell you. You were like, oh, I'm so sad. And I was like, oh, that's so funny. There was one sitting right next to me. I just found it in the grass. And you were like, God damn it. That was funny.
Anyway, let's wrap this up. Let's go check on our monarch caterpillars. See if we got any black chrysalises down there.
Okay, can anybody else in the comments or personally messaging me?
What are you doing right now?
Can anybody else please make me feel better about myself and tell me something that you nerd out to? Just 100%. Like, what is something that is completely unnecessary in daily life function, but it just makes you so freaking happy for no other reason than it's just like cool? Just make me feel better. Like, I feel like a dork, but a nerdy, cool dork, because I'm proud of it. I don't even care. I like it.
You know what you're like?
It's fine.
You're like that person. You're like that friend that has a friend that can use drugs casually, and they're like fine. They're like not addicted to it. It's like the casual coke user, and they're like, "Hey Carly, I do this on the weekends. Like, I still live a normal life. You want to try this coke?" And then you try the coke, and then you do coke every day the rest of your life. Are
you comparing my butterfly journey to
There's no moderation
coke
with
addict?
This.
Life?
She came back from working out yesterday morning. She goes, I said, how's your day going?
I went to my spot.
She got up and like did this workout before like anybody was awake. And I was like, how's your day going? She goes, oh, good. The workout was great. And I found 3 caterpillars.
Literally. Oh, is it ironic that when you lay them down, they make a line too? That's even more of a stretch to get. Okay. All right. I think that's,
Yeah, everybody.
So please comment. Let me know. Let us know what the hell makes you happy.
Thanks for watching our podcast about coke caterpillars.
Don't make me feel bad.
Hey, cool. If you haven't yet, please subscribe and leave us a like and a comment about what you'd like to see on the next podcast.
Yeah. So we've got all kinds of ideas, but we like to hear from our audience of 30. What else?
31.
Like hey, we did it.
All right, guys. So anyway, thanks for watching, and we will catch you on the next podcast. So until then, take care and go caterpillar hunt.
Bye.
Go caterpillar hunting. Bye, guys.
Bye.